Hello, sorry about that. Things were updating very slowly. Um, God. Okay, I'm a little out of it today, so you'll have to forgive me. Oh. There we go. You'll have to forgive me. I'm kind of out of it. I'm sorry, Nate. I'm just, like, you know. I've been feeling weird. I've been feeling stressed. I feel like I already need a vacation again, and I just took several days off, so that's not great. Is this gonna... game capture? Come on. There we go. Great. Okay. Let's just get into it. I'm just so out of it. I'm sorry. Trying to pull it together and failing miserably. Failing miserably. Yeah, that's it. What the oh, I don't want you guys to see my cursor. What were we doing? I was walking with my sister in the West Wing when we noticed something in a nearby classroom. We looked over to see what it was. That was when we saw Miss Bellwether bleeding on the ground. I don't remember what anyone's voices are. I don't remember what we're doing. My sister tried her best to help her, but the professor had already lost a lot of blood. While my sister did that, I used an emergency communication device to call for help. But it was too late. By the time her bleeding stopped, she'd already lost too much blood. Okay, she tried to help her? What was your voice? Miss Yanis? Is that even how you say it? That Giannis? I don't know. How exactly did your sister try to help Miss Bellwether? What? I slipped up. Oh, my sister used first aid to try and stop the bleeding. I see. Could you please add the detail to your testimony? Yeah, sure. Okay. Your sister knows how to use a first aid kit? Yeah, it was covered in our training when we first started working in the kitchens? With all the nobles around, I guess the headmaster wanted to make sure we were prepared. I want to...
Objection!
Oh, was it
Witness, what is the meaning of this? What? Why are you looking at me like that?
Hello.
Maybe I can elaborate, Miss Cianis. You weren't present in the gallery earlier, were you?
No, I was waiting in the lobby. Lady Steelwind told me to wait there.
Well, I suppose I should consider myself lucky. You see, Miss Yanis, one key element of the case is that the body didn't have any wounds on it.
Yeah? So?
So, please explain to the court, Miss Yanis, how did Valerie apply first aid when there shouldn't have been any wounds on the body?
What? I know I screwed up. I saw that wound on her. What happened?
There's clearly something amiss here, but I'm afraid I don't fully understand the implications of this. Are you accusing the witness of committing perjury, Mr. Cuthbert?
When someone lies, they stay as close to the truth as possible while changing minute details. In her thoughts, Valentina said that she was sure she saw a wound on Bellwether, and she also mentioned that Valerie was the one that tried to save the professor. If she didn't try to save Bellwether with first aid, could she have used magic instead? Her sister could be the maid you're looking for.
The witness was lying, Your Honor, but not about everything. Valerie Yanis did try to save the victim's life by addressing her wounds, but she didn't use first aid. She used magic.
No! He found us out?
Whisper, whisper, whisper.
Objection!
Oh, hey!
I'm sorry, Mr. Cuthbert, but your theory is completely flawed.
How so, Miss Steelwind?
Well, it's quite simple. We've already verified that neither of these sisters are mages.
I'm gonna turn this down a little.
What? Wait, how can you be so sure?
During the investigation, we had both the Iannis sisters attuned to a spell compendium. It's standard procedure for the Inquisition when interviewing witnesses.
Ugh, that wasn't right.
Then that means...
That's correct. Neither of the Iannis sisters could attune to a compendium. That's right. The Inquisition checked us both. Neither of us were mages. Whew, that was close.
Damn it. Were you wrong about Valerie being a mage then? No, that can't be right. They're identical twins. Her thoughts said he found us out. That means you were on the right track. Valerie has to be the mage you're looking for.
Celeste, is it possible for a mage to hold a spell compendium and avoid attuning to it?
No, it just needs to be on their person. When I was arrested, the Inquisition also made me attune to one of their spell compendiums. They were really careful to make sure I did the attunement properly. It's really loud on my end. Hold on. There's no way a mage could avoid attuning to a compendium with them watching you.
Right. Commander White might be neglectful sometimes, but even he isn't that careless.
And now, if you're done, I do believe that you exhausted all of your options.
Wait, I'm still not done cross-examining the witness.
What could you possibly hope to glean from her testimony?
Valentina should be stressed out enough to see more of her thoughts, but you can't exactly say that you're planning to read her mind.
There's one key element of her testimony that the court is overlooking. I have a right as an attorney to complete my cross-examination.
Your Honor, the defense is clearly trying to buy time.
I might be compelled to agree with you. However, I'll also admit some elements of the witness's testimony are quite peculiar. I will allow the defense to perform one more cross-examination.
That was close.
But know that this is your last chance, Mr. Cuthbert. If you produce nothing substantial, I will pass my verdict.
Uh-oh.
Of course, Your Honor.
I have no idea what we have to do. All right, it's all or nothing. If you can't find anything by reading her mind, this whole case is finished.
Witness, please give your testimony once more.
Damn it! How long does he plan to keep me up here?
Like I said, my sister and I saw Miss Bellwether bleeding on the ground. We rushed over to her, and I was definitely surprised when I saw her like that. Now that you mention it, I don't know if I saw any wounds on her, but I definitely saw blood. I can't go back on that now, I just need to play dumb. My sister tried to save her, but she didn't use any magic.
Ugh, Valerie, you're too kind-hearted for your own good.
Neither of us is a mage. Both of us held that book the Night Gates gave us. I was caught off guard when they asked us. They almost found us out. The commander was watching us the whole time. He can confirm it. It's a good thing we're twins, or else that trick wouldn't have worked. What are we going to do? They have pretty hard proof that Valerie isn't a mage.
Valerie is the mage we're looking for. I'm sure of it. How many more times can we use this exact same wording? I'm just not sure why they felt the need to lie to the Inquisition.
And more importantly, how did they trick the Inquisition? Okay.
Objection!
Miss Iannis, your thoughts betray you.
What?
You found the thought. They must have done something, but what? It must have happened when Commander White was interrogating them. Oh, I forgot about this. Totally normal things to be doing, running and spinning around during questioning. They're just quirky like that. Running and spinning. Her thoughts also said, it's a good thing we're twins. How did the twins trick the Inquisition? This means that their so-called trick wouldn't have worked if they weren't twins. Oh. Valentina switched places with Valerie. Of course, they switched places. Valentina attuned the first spell compendium. Then she pretended to be Valerie to attune the second one. Commander White couldn't tell the difference between them because they were running and spinning around him. This is very, this is very complex subterfuge that definitely couldn't be thought up by small children.
Ms. Yannis, there's something I want to confirm.
Oh, shit. Hold on. I accidentally closed Twitch. And I need that. Come back to me, Firefox. Survive! Hello? Oh, no. Oh. A lot just happened. History. Restore previous section. Close that. Here we go. There's Twitch. Great. Okay.
During the investigation, both you and Valerie attuned to a spell compendium. Am I correct?
Yeah, the Night watched us do it.
And how did he have you do this? Did you both attune to those compendiums at the same time? Or did you attune to one after another?
Sorry, I need to move my mic.
What? No way, does he know what we did? I fail to see how that makes any difference, Mr. Cuthbert.
Yes, I agree. The spell compendiums would work regardless of what order they went. You may not be aware of this, Your Honor, but Valentina and Valerie Yannis are identical twins, which means that their physical appearances are nearly identical to each other. If Commander White didn't have them attune at the same time, what would stop the twins from switching places with each other?
Objection! This is clearly nothing but baseless conjecture. Orem wouldn't fail at such a basic task.
Really, Prosecutor Steelwind? Do you find it hard to believe that Commander White would fail at a task like this?
No, but wait a minute. This is crazy. We didn't trick the Inquisition. My sister and I are not mages.
Then prove it, Miss Yannis. Bring in your sister and we'll have you attuned to 2 spell compendiums at the same time.
No, wait!
Whisper, whisper, whisper. And Gab.
Order in the court. It's clear that we won't get anywhere unless we test the defense's theory. Words. Bailiff, escort Valerie Yannis to the stand and bring us 2 unattuned spell compendiums.
They've both had their hands on those compendiums for the last 10 minutes. There's no way they can fake it in front of this many people.
All right. It's the moment of truth. You can only hope that your theory is correct.
No. Did he seriously?
What is it, Prosecutor Steelwind? What do you see?
What I see is Commander White seeking new employment in the near future. It appears that the defense was correct. Valentina Yannis isn't a mage, but Valerie Yannis is. And we couldn't put them both up on the stand at once. What's more, Valerie Yannis' compendium contains the Mend Wound spell, which makes the defense's theory entirely plausible. Please, just allow me to explain. We should allow you to explain what, exactly? You're an unregistered mage, and you and your sister have made fools out of all of us with your perjury. How would you know what it's like, Lady Steelwind? What? Did you think we didn't notice your name? You're not like us. You don't have to hide. Whatever. This whole situation has gotten out of hand. I didn't think hiding it would cause so much trouble. And I won't let someone go to prison because of me, even if he is a necromancer. Please let me testify about what I saw. I'll tell you what really happened that day.
Very well. But understand that there will be repercussions for your actions, witness.
Yes, I know.
Testimony again.
My sister and I were walking in the hallway from the kitchen to the foyer. Then suddenly I spotted the professor lying in a pool of blood in a nearby classroom. Valentina used a communication device to call for help while I tried to save her. I saw that she was bleeding, so I cast Mend Wounds on her to close her wounds. But it was too late. I closed the hole in her stomach, but she was already dead.
There was a hole in her stomach? Your Honor, as you can clearly see from the witness's testimony, the trace of necromancy was left by the witness, not my client. What's more, it's clear that there was a physical wound on the body. I see. Well.
His words trail off. He clearly doesn't want to pass a verdict when there's no clear culprit, but he has no choice. The case against Wallace is predicted? The case against Wallace is predicted on Bellwether being killed by necromancy. What word do they mean instead? Because I don't think it's predicted, but I don't know what words they mean instead. Does anyone have any idea what word it could be instead? I feel like I'm blanking so hard. I feel like I should... The president? No. I don't know. It's not precedent, though. With Valerie's testimony, the prosecution doesn't have a shred of evidence implicating him.
Ugh. Very well. The court seems no reason to prolong this trial.
We're gonna be stuck here, though, man.
With these new developments, the court has no choice but to find Wallace Nightgrave not...
Objection! Arya, girl. For the love of God.
I believe the court is ignoring one key detail of the witness's testimony.
And what would that be, Miss Steelwind?
Let's re-examine the witness's testimony.
Yeah.
The communication device that Valentina Yanis used logs the time of day during each use. From this log, we know that Valentina used this device at 3:04 p.m. This was about an hour after time of death.
Where are you going with this?
Mr. Cuthbert, there was a witness who saw the victim before the body was found. Jan Hughes. He, along with another witness, spotted Bellwether walking in the hallways before the body was found.
Yeah. Oh, right! The weird zombie situation. Right? I'm trying to, remember what happened. Don't mind me.
20 to 30 minutes before the body was found. Do you see the discrepancy, Mr. Cuthbert?
Hi, Hannah. Wait. That can't be right. Bellwether died more than an hour before the body was found. So how did Jan see her half an hour after her death? Zombie.
I wonder, Mr. Cuthbert, how could one make a dead body move and walk around?
No, you can't mean...
God fucking damn it.
There was more than one piece of evidence that pointed to a necromancer committing the crime. You fool. The defendant murdered the victim and used necromancy to animate her corpse.
An undead created within the Imperial Academy? How reprehensible.
That's ridiculous. She had a hole in her stomach when the twins found her. Jen Hughes would have noticed that.
Animate corpse stops the flow of blood, so she wouldn't have tracked blood anywhere. The defendant is also proficient with illusion magic. He could have easily used an illusion spell to hide the undead Bellwether's wounds.
Then the question is, why are we doing this? Why would we be doing this?
But another party could have easily used illusion magic to disguise themselves as the victim.
If that were true, how did they move the body to the classroom?
Miss Steelwind, if your theory is true, it would mean the murder occurred elsewhere. Would the Inquisition happen to know where?
Regrettably, we do not.
Then you're just making shit up.
Then the prosecution's case against my client is still faulty. You can't convict my client without more evidence. I agree with Mr. Cuthbert. If With these new developments, the court sees it fit to suspend the trial for the time being. We will give law enforcement time to investigate these unknowns. Court proceedings for this case will resume tomorrow morning.
What am I getting messages about? Great.
Court is adjourned.
Bam.
Hey, are you feeling okay?
A body is seen moving around about an hour after death. It clearly wasn't Bellwether, or at the very least, she wasn't alive when this happened. So what was it?
Tyrion?
There's illusion magic involved. There has to be. But which spell is it? Could it have been illusory disguise?
Tyrion!
What?
You've been quiet since the trial ended. You are making me worried.
Sorry, I was just thinking about what Steelwind said.
You mean about her theory? It's a little creepy when you think about it. Do you really think someone turned the professor into an undead?
I don't think so. The prosecution's case is hinged on one clear fact. That Wallace was the only high-level necromancer nearby. We have to assume that he's the only person capable of using that type of magic.
But then how was she walking around?
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. It's a given that Wallace didn't touch the body, so we can discount the use of high-level necromancy.
No matter what, someone used an illusion. But aren't there spells that can create freestanding illusions, not just disguises?
I honestly don't know. We need to talk to someone who knows about that type of magic. Wait, didn't Eris say she was studying illusion magic? She might be able to tell us if something like this is possible.
Is that really a good idea? She, glitches the screen out and shit.
What do you mean?
What if she's the one who created the illusion?
What?
You're detecting fear from her again.
Celeste, are you scared of Eris?
What? No.
I saw it this morning, too. You always get really scared when she's around.
Ooh. I thought I was doing a better job of hiding it. Sorry, it's not based on anything real, but for years, I've been working as a mercenary. When you do that kind of work, you build up an instinct to sense danger. You kind of have to if you want to stay alive.
Sorry, I never knew.
Tyrion.
I've fought literal monsters and barely escaped with my life. But when I'm near Eris, none of those creatures come even close. I get this feeling like I'm in front of a predator that I could never hope to beat. Every instinct I have tells me to run whenever she's nearby.
Really? But she doesn't seem that dangerous.
I know. I think maybe I'm just anxious or something. I should know better than anyone not to judge people by their appearance. Sorry, forget I said anything! If you think we should talk to her, then we should do that. You're not one to discount Celeste's instincts. She's always been reliable in the past 2 weeks we've known her. And if Eris is making her scared, that must mean something. But if Eris is really that dangerous, then that's all the more reason to talk to her.
But aside from that, there was also something else that the prosecutor said. She said along with another witness. That means there was another witness that saw Bellwether walking around.
Right. Jan probably isn't the most reliable witness. So, talking to that other person might help us figure out what happened. But, do you think Steelwind will tell us who that witness was?
At this point, we won't lose anything by trying.
In any case, it looks like you have your work cut out for you. So where should you start first? Oh, I would like to save my progress. Good, 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 good. 1 second. Oh, new music. Sorry, I'm just closing things.
Tyrion? What are we doing here?
I'm not Sure.
For some reason, you felt drawn to this place. Just, just felt it. Don't worry about it.
Wait, is that Eris?
Celeste points further into the cemetery. There, you see Eris standing in front of a gravestone. She's placing flowers on it and appears to be chanting a short prayer.
Well, we found her.
We should probably talk to her later. It would be rude to disturb her now.
As you're about to leave, Eris suddenly turns to face you. She's far away, but you can see her beckoning you over. Oh, what was her voice?
Oh, hello there. Or are you two looking for me?
Sorry, we were looking for you, but we understand if you'd rather talk later.
No, I was just finishing up here. Did you have something you wanted to talk to me about?
Well, we wanted to ask you some questions about the case.
Oh? That was my first time ever watching a court trial. You were truly remarkable.
Thank you. Were you up in the galley?
I've always enjoyed watching physical battles in theater. But now I see now that battles of wits can be just as entertaining to watch.
Entertaining?
Yeah, I know what you mean. You see, the odds are stacked against him. But then he suddenly pulls out this crazy deduction and steers the trial in his favor. It's almost like a turnabout.
I've never really thought of it like that.
But I'm sure it's far more entertaining to be the one making the deductions.
I'm not really sure what you mean. I practice law so that I can help those persecuted by the justice system. I don't really do it to entertain myself.
But is that really true?
Oh, hell! Oh! Hello? Hello? Did anyone else see that?
Don't you find the experience even the least bit entertaining, Tyrion?
I wouldn't really put it that way.
You're far too modest. You save people from the clutches of death. To your clients, you might as well be a knight in shining armor.
When I saw that sprite, for some reason, my brain was like, why does that look like the Kristoff breakdown sprite?
Earlier you said you were studying illusion magic.
I am. Did you want me to ask about the prosecution's theory?
Did you want to ask me about the... I got it.
Yes, actually. How'd you know?
It was easy to guess after seeing you in the courthouse. Anyways, disguising an undead with an illusion is definitely possible. And as Lady Steelwind said, illusory disguise would be the best spell to use for that.
What if someone created a freestanding illusion?
A freestanding illusion?
Yeah, we know that Wallace didn't animate and disguise the professor's corpse. So what if the illusion wasn't disguising anything? Maybe someone created a freestanding illusion of Bellwether walking around.
For something like that, one would probably use major illusion.
Major illusion. Milasso. Gesture none. Duration until dispelled. Concentration? Yes. Creates a 3-dimensional illusion. The illusion can take form of any object or creature that can be contained in a 10-foot cube. While concentrating, the caster can animate and move the image to a different location within range. The illusion is purely visual and can't be physically touched. Great! Yeah, Hannah, this is why you can't go on Twitter.
What is it?
I don't think major illusion is what we're looking for. Do you remember what Jen said? If the bellwether that Jan saw was a major illusion, then she couldn't have knocked over the vase.
We had those knights, or whatever they were, that, all speak in her voice because she, programmed them or whatever. It's probably something related to that, I think.
Illusions created by that spell don't have any mass.
I see. How perceptive of you. Are there any other illusion spells that do have mass? No. Illusions can only recreate visual and auditory sensations, but there isn't a single illusion spell that someone can touch. So that means that someone disguised
something to make it look like bellwether. Well, I've already figured it out. Yeehaw.
Why the look of suspicion, Celeste? Sorry, I wasn't... Calm down, I'm only joking. I don't blame you for considering every possibility. In fact, I'm flattered that you think I'm capable of pulling off such an elaborate ruse. Anyways, that does tell us...
Oh, wait, no.
Anyways, this does tell us one important thing.
What's that?
The bellwether that Jan saw had a physical mass to it. It wasn't a freestanding illusion, it was someone or something disguised as bellwether. Why am I yawning so much?
Updated. Oh my god, I'm so tired. And for what?
It's quite a shame, isn't it?
Eris looks pensively at the gravestone. The name on the stone says Emily Grant, and her lifetime appears to be awfully short. She must have been only 12 years old when she died.
Sorry for interrupting you. Was she someone you knew?
Not personally. I'm actually here on Wallace's behalf.
Wallace knew her?
Wallace joined the Academy as part of a program run by Headmaster Redmond. At the time, the headmaster was reaching out to mages among the common folk. He had started a program to admit these mages to the Academy without having to pay tuition. Both Emily and Wallace were among those mages.
Oh, this is somewhere from the beginning of this case that I barely remember.
Wow, it must have been an amazing opportunity for them. The truth is, neither of them actually cared about learning magic. The real problem was that Emily had a terminal illness. She and Wallace were poor orphans, and they obviously didn't have the resources to treat it. But if they enrolled in the Academy...
The Academy will be obligated to give her medical treatment.
The Imperial Academy teaches the best mages in the kingdom. They thought that curing her illness would be an easy task for the Academy's healers. But they were mistaken, I'm afraid. I'm sure you know this by now, but healing spells can only treat wounds. They can't cure illnesses. Emily's condition only got worse over the years, and eventually she succumbed to her illness. Wallace was furious. He didn't understand why Kingdom was outlawing magic that could save lives.
And that's why he decided to learn it himself.
Yes, the headmaster was inspired by Wallace's resolve. He gave him access to the Academy's forbidden tomes of necromancy, and Wallace taught himself the spells that he knows today.
So that's why.
It was supposed to stay a secret between him and the headmaster. But I'm sure you know how that turned out.
Hey, girl. Come on, girl. It's the grave of Emily Grant. It's a shame that she died so young. You briefly say a brief prayer to Bahamut. Okay, lots of brieflies. It's a grave for an individual that you don't know. It'd be best to leave it undisturbed. Oh. Great.
Repario Arcanum.
Great.
There's still a lot we don't know.
Yeah. We know that Wallace didn't kill her, but did the true killer really murder her there? Right, you'll need to go find out more. Great. Who was messaging me? Oh, okay. Alright, sorry, I'm just checking something.
Oh, it's you, Mr. Cuthbert.
Steelwind, what are you doing here?
After what happened at the trial yesterday, I decided it would be best to start my investigation here.
Right. Wallace was in the library for the entire morning. I just got so hungry. I think I have pie. Oh my god, I think we have pie left. So it would make sense that she'd start her search here.
Actually, since I have you here, have you seen Eris Illmatter anywhere? Did you notice that her last name is Illmatter? Are you concerned about that? Because you should be. It's my understanding that you're both acquainted with each other.
Eris? What do you want with her?
It's not for anything serious, mind you. It's just that Ova the Commander lost her spell compendium. Now we need her Now we need her to produce another one for our records. If you see her, please let her know that we'd like to speak to her.
We saw her earlier in the cemetery nearby, but I have no idea where she is now.
Once again, I have to compensate for that idiot's mistakes.
Anyway,
How is this hat staying on her head?
I was wondering if I could ask you some questions about the case.
Very well. I suppose I still need to honor our deal from earlier.
I guess.
Have you had any luck on finding the scene of the crime?
Unfortunately, I haven't. From the witnesses' testimonies, we have a rough idea of the route Bellwether took. But none of the rooms we've checked have any sign of struggle. Why are you so sure that a struggle happened? I'm mainly basing that off the Eunice's sister's testimonies. Valerie, in particular, noticed that the bleeding came from a wound in her stomach. Regrettably, the body's wounds were mended, so we can't determine what kind of weapon the murderer used.
During the trial, you mentioned that another witness saw Bellwether walking around yesterday. Would you be willing to tell us who that person is?
I'm sorry, but I can't tell you that.
You're caught a little off guard.
You've been pretty transparent with your investigation so far. What's changed?
I have no obligation to justify myself to you, nor do I have an obligation to help the opposition.
Didn't we have a deal? Hiding information doesn't exactly seem fair to us.
I believe I've given you plenty of information already. So regardless of what I said before, the answer is still no.
Her family is dangerous. Was that a glitch? What the? What the fuck is happening? Why is her face flashing? The Eye of Horus catches a stray thought from her, and also a flashing box. Her family is dangerous? What does that mean?
Is there something about this witness's family that you're worried about?
No, this could be a feint.
What is happening? Have their faces flashed before in these thoughts? I didn't think they did.
I'm sorry, but you'll have to try harder than that if you want to bluff me.
She referred to the witness as her. Furthermore, she said that her family is dangerous. Why would she go to such lengths to hide the witness's identity? In any case, it looks like she's not willing to share more at the moment. Maybe you should try looking somewhere else.
Repario Arcanum.
Great. Locker room? Help, that's so funny. You spend some time wandering through the academy when you overhear a conversation from a nearby room.
Oh god. From what I understand, Miss Steelwind has already moved the investigation elsewhere. How long must I wait before I can retrieve my things? Sorry, old-timer. Orders are orders. Nothing comes in or out till this case is over and done with. Commander White and the headmaster too? Oh, hello, Mr. Cuthbert. Hey, kid. In any case, there are other matters I must attend to. Please inform me when I can reclaim my things. Sure.
And he vanishes. It looks like Commander White is standing guard in front of this locker room, and it doesn't look like he's conducting any sort of investigation. He is just standing here. Is he here on Steelwind's orders? He might be able to tell you who the secret witness is.
What was the headmaster talking to you about? Supposedly he has some items stored in one of the faculty lockers. The problem is Steelwind says no one gets in or out of this room, except for her and you two, apparently.
God, what's funnier than him having phoenix hair?
She won't even let the other knights in here. Really? Is that normal? Nope, but things rarely are when she's calling the shots.
Why would she give you access to the crime scene if she wasn't even letting her knights in? Steelwind's orders have been added to your notes. With the exception of you and Celeste McCoy, Prosecutor Steelwind isn't allowing anyone inside the...
I don't know what her deal is, but she's been acting strange lately. She's been real paranoid, that girl. Frankly, I can't tell what's going through her head.
If only someone could read her mind.
You mentioned that the prosecutor has been paranoid lately. Do you think it has something to do with this case? Nah, started way before that. Lately she's been using the Inquisition to investigate a lot of non-magical homicides. What? Wouldn't it be easier to work with the relevant law enforcement for that? I don't know why, but she is convinced that these cases have magic involved. Okay. But we scanned each and every one of those crime scenes. Nothing turned up. Gotta say though, if it weren't for the scans, I might actually agree with her. Why do you say that? Those homicides. I haven't ever seen anything like them. They're probably some of the most screwed up cases I've ever handled. For one of those cases, we had ourselves a disgruntled spouse. She found out that her man was going around with a barkeep. Do you know what the spouse does? She stalks the poor woman. She starts leaving threatening notes all around where she worked. The barkeep told the city watch all about what was happening, but no matter how much they staked out the tavern, they could never catch the perp. Then one day, the barkeep arrived home, but little did she know the spouse was there waiting for her. The poor lady never had a chance. Then to tie the whole thing together, the spouse waits for her husband to get home. She cooks him a big roast, using the barkeep's remains.
Okay. All right.
Wow, that story is pretty...
I know. Steelwind thinks someone's developed a new type of magic that can control people's minds. And these homicides were some kind of sick test run.
Magic that can control people's minds.
But wouldn't Mage Blight make more sense?
Mage Blight?
When a mage overuses their magic, it can have pretty bad consequences on their mind. They temporarily lose their grip of reality and begin seeing things that aren't there. When a mage becomes like that, it almost never ends well. They enter a frenzy and begin firing spells randomly, which only makes it worse.
I've seen my fair share of Mage Blight.
God damn it.
And the ones that were... Oh, and this isn't like that. Not all the perps were mages. The ones that were didn't even use their magic. One thing that each of these perps almost seemed to wake up after we arrested them. All of them said things like, it wasn't me, or I didn't have a choice. They didn't have a choice? What could that mean? I doubt it means anything. Sometimes people can't face the things they've done. It's easier to say you had no control than to take responsibility.
Sorry, I'm apparently so tired. You wonder if you can mislead the commander into revealing who the secret witness is. Let me, lean back a little bit further so I'm not messing on my back.
During the trial, Miss Steelwind mentioned that someone other than Jan Hughes saw Bellwether walking around. Have you seen them around lately? We wanted to speak with them. Ha! Nice try, kid.
Well, it was worth a shot.
Honestly, I couldn't tell you if I wanted to. I don't think anyone other than Steelwind knows who this witness is. I sure as hell don't.
What? She's even hiding it from the Inquisition commander? Why is she being so secretive? It looks like the commander doesn't know who the secret witness is either.
Ugh. This isn't getting us anywhere.
Steelwind's behavior is strange, though.
Perhaps you could try analyzing her behavior. If you do that, you might be able to find a way to convince her to help you.
Okay, Steelwind's behavior has been strange this time around. She's hiding elements of this case, even from the commander. Anyone can tell that she doesn't have much faith in him. I'm standing right here. But this is the first time I've seen her hide key details of a case from him.
What is motivating Steelwind to keep secrets?
There has to be a reason why she's being so secretive. Her actions must be driven by paranoia. She's been hoarding information about the case. There's only one reason why she wouldn't utilize the Inquisition like she usually does. It's because she doesn't trust them. I hate to say it, but that doesn't really surprise me. She's always been standoffish with us. But there is one exception. Who has Steelwind trusted for this case? There are individuals she's trusted more than the Inquisition during this case. She let us investigate crime scene without any restrictions.
Yeah, I never really thought about that. Her and me have this kind of toxic Yuri thing going on. I've been thinking more about that than anything else. Does she trust us that much?
I don't think personal trust is the reason.
Why does Steelwind trust us this time?
We don't usually interact with her, except for your weird, toxic Yuri thing that you mentioned. And she's worked with the Inquisition on plenty of cases that we weren't even involved in.
Why does trust Tyrion isn't a member of... No, there's a key difference between us and the... We don't have to answer it this time around. There we go. I should look at more of those before just trying to guess, but there's no penalty, so I'm just like, let's keep guessing.
Steelwind doesn't know much about us, but she does know we aren't prone to but she does know that we aren't prone to noble corruption.
Right, you indicated a noble in the last case.
Meanwhile, the Inquisition usually bends to the nobility's whims. Oh, well, can't argue with you there.
What can you infer about the secret witness?
Using my insight, I could tell that she's worried about the witness's family. Or don't listen to this part. And if she's worried about corruption from the nobility, that can only mean one thing.
The witness is...
The witness has to belong to a noble family. That's why she's so wary of interference.
But we're obviously not going to do anything corrupt. Unless it's fun. Why is she hiding the witness's identity from us?
You recall seeing a thought through the eye.
I think she's worried about our safety.
Whoa! Toxic Yuri to the max!
Yeah, I guess harassing a noble could put you in danger. But I'm the protege of infamous Ruby Tamura.
Yeah, it's not as if we aren't already on the nobility's shit list. I'm sure the Pierce family still has it out for us. I'm definitely gonna get, Listen, I'm fighting off murder attempts at all hours. I'm always ready. Someone could kill me at any moment, but I'm prepared.
This can only mean that the family we're dealing with is even more powerful than House Pierce. If the prosecutor is wary of them, they could even be as powerful as the Steelwinds. Wait, don't tell me you think we're dealing with one of the 4 pillars.
4 pillars? Guys, I'm a country girl, and I don't know fuck all.
It's a name people use for the top 4 noble houses. These families stand at the top of the kingdom's aristocracy. If I recall correctly, the 4 pillars are the House Frege, House Von Sanctus, House Sybil, and House Steelwind.
Ignore the fact that I really struggled to say that in his voice.
Steelwind is part of one of them?
Yeah, which makes it so much weirder that she's serving as a prosecutor. What is it? Steelwind's weird behavior all started after she investigated this room. We were at the crime scene, and she left to follow a lead. But an hour later, she came back to the lecture hall and booted everyone out. Her behavior changed after investigating this room. That means she found something here.
And that something must point to a family of the 4 pillars.
The commander looks a bit anxious.
You know, Steelwind's orders say I can't snoop around here, but you do on the other hand. Don't worry, just leave it to us. I have some school records that say which locker belongs to which student.
Fuck me.
You can use it to tell whose locker you're looking at.
Okay, great.
Oh, there's an arcane construct in the back here.
It's probably here to aid the students. Anyway, I don't think it's relevant to our investigation.
But perhaps you should make a small note of it anyway. There appears to be an inactive arcane construct in the Academy locker room. You use the legend that the commander gave you. You look carefully across the list and find some notable student names. You open Wallace's locker. Inside you find a bottle of fragrant liquid and something that looks like a makeup kit.
Huh, I didn't expect Wallace to use stuff like this.
It does seem strange, but it's not your place to judge. Yeah, it's not. Anyways, you should try looking through the other lockers. You use the legend, You open the locker with Miriam Frega's ID number. Inside you find a stack of worn-out textbooks and notebooks.
Wait a minute. These notebooks all have Wallace's name in them.
You open the notebook and look through its pages. It appears to be research on the art of necromancy.
These are Wallace's notebooks.
But why are they in Miriam Frega's locker? Did Miriam steal his things?
What's going on here? You and Celeste checked the locker more thoroughly.
Wait a minute. Tyrion, take a look at this!
That's blood.
Great. You open Jaden von Sanctus's locker. Inside you find several bottles of some kind of transparent lotion.
There's nothing but lotion in here?
Oh.
I wonder why a student would need this much lotion.
You take one of the bottles to inspect it more closely.
Wait, Tyrion, don't touch that with your hands!
It's some kind of sanitizing liquid. It's a little strange, but it doesn't seem to be related to the case.
Okay. Is it just a lot of hand sanitizer? You open Warren Sybil's locker. Inside you find some textbooks and a neatly stacked deck of tarot cards.
Oh, it's like those cards that fortune tellers use.
I wonder if this student studies divination magic. But anyways, I don't think this is related to the case.
Okay, so that would be Miriam.
We found a few things, but I can't really make sense of any of it.
We should look at this from the prosecutor's perspective. Steelwind found something in one of those lockers.
Whose locker had the most suspicious evidence? Well, maybe the one with the blood and the stolen notebooks?
And whatever she saw made her extremely paranoid.
No matter how we look at it, we found some insanely suspicious things in Frega's locker. It had Wallace's notebooks and even some blood. Not great.
But that blood certainly is strange. It implies that something bloody was stored there.
Do you think someone stole it?
No, actually. I think it was Steelwind who took it.
Oh, right! Aura mentioned that she investigated this room. She must have taken the bloody item as evidence.
But with that said, there's something else strange about Miriam Frega's locker. It had a lot of Wallace's possessions. It's possible that she really did steal these items from him, but it's more likely that this locker isn't actually hers. Remember what Wallace told us before?
Oh, right, this was so weird. This was such a weird... He was like, yeah, people would get mad at me because they moved my ID number off my locker. This was so odd to me because, like, I feel like you reach a point where you don't need to, like, check your locker number. You just know which one's yours. Why would it was just a strange bullying move, in my opinion. It was just so odd.
So someone switched the nameplates?
This means this isn't Miriam Frega's locker, it's Wallace's.
But that would mean that the bloody object came from Wallace's locker.
It appears so. But if that's true, why didn't Steelwind present the bloody item during the trial? I proved that Bellwether was wounded before Valerie healed her. Wouldn't that have been the perfect time to present what she'd found? It was a bloody item found in the defendant's locker after all. She could have easily proved that the nameplates were switched too.
Right. That is weird.
There's something more to this that you aren't seeing, but what?
I think we'll just have to ask Steelwind ourselves.
Oh, you're back.
We've uncovered a few things during our investigation. Miss Steelwind, are you acquainted with a student named Miriam Frega?
I underestimated him, and my face will now flash. I said it before, Mr. Cuthbert. I won't fall for such an obvious bluff.
It's not a bluff, Miss Steelwind, and I'll prove it using the evidence we've gathered.
Arya Steelwind's psychological profile is complete. Steelwind is paranoid, and for whatever reason, it's due to the involvement of Miriam Frega. If you could convince her to reveal why she's being so secretive, she might give you more information. BBC Sherlock! Okay. Steelwind is extremely logical and won't accept arguments that aren't supported by evidence. However, she has become secretive lately and her actions seem to stem from paranoia. She's uneasy about case elements that relate to Miriam Frega, and she's very inclined to hide Frega's involvement from the court at all costs.
You've been acting strangely, Steelwind. Even the Knights of the Inquisition have noticed. Please, just tell me, why are you being so paranoid?
I'm not sure what you're trying to imply, Mr. Cuthbert. Nothing about my behavior has changed. I've approached this case objectively, just like I have with every other case. I know I've only ever done one.
You've ordered the knights to stay away from the crime scene, and you've even taken upon yourself to conduct the investigation yourself. That's not normal behavior from a prosecutor.
I took those actions because the Inquisition is incompetent. How could I possibly trust them with anything?
The knights are incompetent. The knights are incompetent, but even you can see the value of delegation. During Celeste's case, you still delegated tasks to the Inquisition, and you could have easily investigated the McCoy Tavern yourself. This academy is huge. You wouldn't conduct your investigation this way unless you had a good reason.
Then why don't you enlighten me? Why would I act in such a way? One would cause me to behave so strangely.
You know the Inquisition is corrupt and will bend to nobility. So what would happen if a powerful noble were publicly involved in this case? With that noble's influence, they'd probably order the Inquisition to cover their involvement. A high-profile noble is involved in this case, Steelwind, and I believe that noble is Miriam Frege.
Again with this. Do you think you can bluff me by throwing out the names of random nobles? Not every noble is a malevolent criminal like Garrick Pierce. I've said it before and I'll say it again. My investigation doesn't involve the Freges. Nothing about this case has anything to do with House Freges.
And how do you explain this, Steelwind? The commander told us that you were following a lead in the locker room yesterday. We investigated the lockers of students from the Four Pillars families, and we found stains of blood in a locker with Miriam Frege's ID number, and it was presumably left by a bloody object. The bloody object was taken by somebody, and we heard you'd become extremely paranoid after you found something in the locker room. If I had to guess, I'd say you took the bloody object as evidence.
And what evidence do you have to support these outrageous claims?
What?
The only thing you have is evidence of a blood stain. There's a myriad of explanations for that. Plus, everything else you mentioned is pure speculation. You can't prove that piece of evidence exists. I could have found any number of things in that room, or possibly nothing at all. Okay. If you don't you're hiding evidence, Miss Steelwind. Don't you see how wrong that is? Let's not be coy. Anyone can tell that's not the most notable thing.
You found an object in the locker with Miriam Frege's nameplate on it. If you don't want to present what you found to the court, I'll have no choice but to pull the owner of that locker onto the stand.
That's ridiculous. We both know that locker in question belongs to Wallace Nightgrave.
Can you unequivocally prove that, Miss Steelwind? Because the way I see it, there's a lot of room for doubt there. Enough doubt for me to pull Miss Frege onto the witness stand. But if I had more context, maybe I wouldn't have to resort to that.
Argument 1. Take that.
Well played, Mr. Cuthbert. I suppose I don't have a choice, do I?
You've successfully persuaded Arya Steelwind. The truth.
Just so we're clear, I wasn't acting to protect the nobility. But I'll admit, Miriam Frege was the other witness that saw Bellwether that day.
I see. I had some suspicions, but...
There's also another matter.
Steelwind looks uneasy.
When I was investigating the body, I found this.
Evidence of academic dishonesty has been added to your notes. A tightly packed folder containing several documents. This document contains evidence detailing multiple instances of plagiarism, fraud, bribery of school officials, and various other offenses committed by Miriam Frege.
What the...
It looks like Miriam's been cheating at school. If there is one thing that these lawyer games love to do, it is somebody getting grades at school that they weren't supposed to be getting.
But why would Bellwether have something like this?
From the way it's arranged, I think it might have been blackmail. Miriam Frege is considered a prodigy in the practice of conjuration magic. She won a litany of awards, and she will most definitely graduate with honors. If these files were to reach the public, it would absolutely ruin her reputation. Do you think the professor was trying to threaten her? It appears so. When I discovered this, several elements of the case were still unknown. I decided to look through her belongings, and I mistakenly looked through the locker with her ID. I found this in that locker.
Bloody rapier has been added to your notes. Lazy. A rapier covered in blood. It was found in Wallace Nightgray's locker. Apparently it's a valuable family heirloom to House Frege. It was reportedly stolen by Miriam Frege weeks before the murder. Yikes.
This is...
It's very likely that this is the murder weapon, and I just chose to not say anything. The rapier is a valuable family heirloom of House Frege, and a few weeks ago, Miriam reported that this rapier was stolen from her room, and then it was found in Wallace's locker. Not that I'm
complaining, but why didn't you present this in court?
To be honest, I'd like to avoid involving House Frege by any means necessary. I knew it! You're just protecting her, aren't you? Ms. McCoy, do you recall how Wyvern Guard's justice system works? To acquit a defendant, you need to unequivocally prove that they didn't commit the crime. To do that, they either need a solid alibi,
or we need to prove that someone else committed the crime.
What do you suppose will happen if you bring Miriam Frege onto the stand? House Frege won't allow one of its members to be indicted in a court of law. They'll plant and forge evidence to implicate your defendant, and they'll use the Inquisition to do so.
So that's why you've been keeping them away from the investigation.
Can't you do anything? The Steelwinds are powerful too, aren't they? I don't have the support of my house. Right now, I'm just a prosecutor, nothing more.
Tragic backstory, oh my god.
Steelwind? You know that this isn't fair for us. Just do nothing. Do nothing and let's win!
Celeste!
If we can't go after Miriam, then you can at least help us save Wallace. I am not going to do that. Why? What if Miriam Frege is the real killer? Her sword is the murder weapon and Bellwether was trying to blackmail her? I seem to recall another case where an innocent person's sword was used to frame them. That's... As a prosecutor, it is not my place to decide who's guilty and who's not. I won't engage in a corruption, even if it's to counter corruption from another noble house. I'm sorry.
I don't know if this is the answer, though. I'm not sure if... I don't know.
Do you know where Miriam is right now?
Did you hear what I just said? You can't let her think that there's even the slightest possibility you'll indict her. She'll bring the entire wrath of House Frege down on you.
Regardless, I can't do anything for Wallace unless I know everything that happened. Frege's the last piece I need to put everything together.
Well, I suppose I don't have much of a choice, do I? Her dormitory is room 107. I imagine she'll be there considering that classes are suspended.
Thank you, Steelwind.
If I don't tell you, I'm sure you'll probably just find out using some other means. But please, Mr. Cuthbert, be careful.
Whoa! Check this out. Oh. You follow Miss Steelwind's directions, ooh god, and find Miriam Frege's dorm room. The door leading inside seems a lot more ornately decorated than the other dorms. You go to knock on the door, but you don't realize that it's only partially closed. As your fist comes into contact with the wood, you accidentally push the door wide open. Oh my god. Oh, hi! I think we might have seen her before. I think we're having a glitch with this box situation, guys. Excuse me, how dare you barge into my room? These insects have no respect.
Sorry, meant to knock, but...
Conduct! No, construct. Construct, remove these hoodlums from my room! Acknowledged. From the corner of the room, an arcane construct stands up and starts making its way toward you. Before you can protest, it raises its fist to hit you. Ooh! I don't think we've seen this sprite before. You only have enough time to raise your arms and brace yourself for the impact. You close your eyes and wait for the blow, but instead you hear the clang of steel against steel. Confused, you open your eyes and see Celeste standing between you and the construct. Her sword is drawn and she's using it to block the construct's fists. Upon taking a closer look at Celeste, the student stares curiously at her. Construct, stand down. Acknowledged. I'm terribly sorry for that. I wasn't aware that this was your servant. Celeste looks angry but puts her sword away without a word. I haven't noticed you around campus. Are you a new student? If she has a personal attendant, she must be important. What? You see an opportunity.
Yes, my master just enrolled here recently.
What? Celeste gives you a puzzled look, but you make a silent gesture back. After a moment, she seems to realize what you're doing.
Yes, I just started here. I take it you're Miriam Frege?
Yes, I'm honored you recognize me. Student, great. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Miss.
I'm Celeste.
She catches herself and pauses for an awkward moment.
Steelwind. I'm Celeste Steelwind.
You can't believe her. There's no way she's going to believe... Steelwind? It's a pleasure to meet another member of such an esteemed house. She must be from a branch family. Maybe I can use her. Wait, she's actually buying this?
I just moved in, and I thought I should introduce myself, seeing as you're a top student in the field of conjuration.
Conjugation, not conjuration, conjugation. Oh, I love how they give the little steel wind in quotes. It's so fun. Conjuration?
Yes.
Well, there's no backing out now.
Miss Frege, I was wondering if we could ask you some questions about...
Excuse me? I don't believe anyone has permitted you to speak. Here we go. Celeste is still smiling, but you can hear her grinding her teeth together.
So, we heard about what happened with Professor Bellwether. I can't believe it.
Yes, it's quite tragic what happened to her. She's always been an acquaintance of House Frege. She appears to be more receptive to Celeste. It might be better to let her lead on the questioning.
We heard that you saw her on the day of the murder. Could you tell us more about what happened?
Oh, you heard about that from your relative, did you? If you don't mind me asking, why are you so interested? She's not like Arya, is she?
Oh, I'm just curious is all. Real nosy. I love to gossip. You know how uneventful life can be sometimes. Being a noble and all.
Alright, tone it down. Sorry, I'm dying. Oh, is that all? I was worried you were going down the same path as that poor, confused Arya. What does she mean by that? But I'm in the middle of a study break anyways. I suppose I can have some time to sate your curiosity. Construct, please prepare some tea. Use that lotus tea we imported from the Eastern Kingdoms. She could be useful if I can win her favor. Acknowledged.
Lotus tea? You have lotus juice?
You feel like you're slowly losing control of this situation.
I mean, I heard that you saw the professor on the day of the murder. Where did this happen?
I was in the hallways when I saw her coming out of the headmaster's office. She was heading toward the library.
Do you remember what time this happened?
I'm not really sure, honestly. It's a little embarrassing, but I have a bad habit of getting too absorbed in my work. Sometimes I'll let entire hours pass without noticing.
Do you have a rough idea at least?
I think it was in the morning? She thinks it was in the morning?
But anyways, did anything seem off about her?
No, it was a short encounter. I merely greeted her and she responded in kind. Or at least that's what should have happened. So true, Hannah. That thought just now, what does it mean? You slowly glance at Celeste and catch her attention. In small motions, you shake your head to indicate that Miriam is holding something back. Were you and the professor really on good terms?
I heard she was pretty mean toward the other students.
Towards the riffraff, maybe, but not students like us. She was a great ally to House Frege. Or at least she used to be. That's why we were planning on appointing her as the new headmaster.
Wait, what did you just say? Did you just say that your family was going to appoint Bellwether as the new headmaster?
Oh, I'm surprised you didn't know. House Frege holds several seats on the Academy Board. We were making plans to have her replace that lout Redmond. They were going to sack the headmaster?
Did Headmaster Redmond know about this?
Oh, of course not. That was part of a large-scale plan. Along with Redmond, we were going to replace all the staff members with arcane constructs. We had to keep everything under wraps, or else the help would have left prematurely. And where would that leave us? But Jan supposedly overheard Bellwether talking about the constructs. Did Bellwether prematurely reveal the plan? Or was Jan lying about how he found out? But alas, with the Bellwether gone, we'll have to delay our plans.
So, we heard that Arya took your rapier as evidence for the case.
Can you believe her? She still won't give it back to me. My father will have my head if I can't get it back soon.
How did it even become part of the investigation anyways?
I don't know. Arya won't tell me anything. I swear, if that necromancer was the one who stole it, I'll execute him myself.
So, someone did steal it from you?
Yes, right out of my room.
When did this happen?
A few weeks ago. I noticed when I came back from one of my classes. Someone removed the rapier from the display case in my room.
How did they get into your room in the first place?
Do you think someone used magic to teleport it past the door?
Please, I'm a master of conjuration magic. If someone attempted that, my enchantments would have shunted them out. I'm really struggling to read tonight.
That means the thief came through one of the doors or windows.
I bet it was the necromancer. I'm sure a street child like him just knows how to pick a lock.
I've heard that you're one of the Academy's top students. Your grades must be amazing.
Of course, as a narrator of House Frege, my grades are impeccable. It feels good to have my greatness recognized. That's strange. You don't see anything contradictory through the eye this time. You make a gesture towards Celeste to continue pressing her.
Oh, what kind of magic do you study here?
You must be joking. I study magic from the School of Conjuration, just like most members of my house.
School of Conjuration? That's the type of magic that specializes in spatial manipulation and teleportation, right?
Yes, I consider myself quite the expert in that field. Why, the Crown Prince himself has asked me for my assistance in a research study. It's nice to work with someone of my caliber.
Again, you don't see any thoughts that contradict what she's saying.
Does that mean she's not lying? If she's smart enough to get the Crown Prince's attention, why would she be cheating?
You said something about my wayward relative before. Were you talking about Arya?
Oh, I'm terribly sorry if I offended you. But I'm sure it must pain you to see the way she's been acting lately.
Yes. It's been extremely hard.
Hang in there, Celeste. Did you know that she even interrogated me about the murder yesterday? Can you believe it? A Steelwind running around a crime scene like a common knight. Why, if I tried something like that, my father would disown me. Does the nobility not approve of Steelwind becoming a prosecutor? You always thought that it is strange. What is motivating her to do this? Honestly, she probably thinks she can do it because of our betrothed. Aster deserves better. What? Celeste's eyes perk up upon hearing this. You'd be lying if you weren't also curious about who this Aster is. You shoot her a stern look that tells her to stay focused. No, I want to hear more. You can't risk blowing your cover for some gossip. Says you! I will blow my cover for some gossip. God damn it, Tyrion.
You have an arcane construct in your room. I thought they only had them in the library and locker room.
This construct was a gift from House von Sanctus. I have to say, they're quite convenient to have around.
They look really cool. Maybe I should get one.
You should. A construct will be far more useful than this attendant of yours. Unfortunately, there are still some issues with their intelligence.
Their intelligence?
There are issues when you give them complex commands. It might be easier to show you. Miriam turns to the construct and begins gesturing towards it. Construct, please receive Libidoo. Please retrieve my textbooks and bring them here. Then cast Steelwind Strike at this location. After that, retrieve some plates and set them out at this table. Acknowledged. What? The construct stands up and retrieves Miriam's textbooks from one of the shelves in the room. It brings them to the table you're sitting at, just like she offered. But then it stops moving.
Wait, what happened?
The construct obviously can't cast Steelwind Strike, so my second command was impossible to carry out. But did you notice something else?
It ignored your third command, too.
Correct. My third command was possible to carry out.
So why did it ignore that command?
Constructs execute a series of commands in the order that they're given. But let's say one of those tasks is impossible to complete. When the construct gets to the task, it will deem the entire series impossible to complete. As a result, it will stop executing the series altogether.
So if a task of commands is impossible, then that command will interrupt the sequence of commands.
Exactly. Great.
Lady Steelwind, I'm afraid we must leave now if we want to make it to our next engagement.
Oh, right. Let's go.
Servant, I guess, whatever. Oh, leaving already? It's a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, sure. I hope to see you around.
You make your way back to the foyer with Celeste. With all the time you spent, you only have a brief moment before night falls.
Are you sure you didn't want to talk to her more? I wanted to be super nosy about Arya's betrothed because I thought we had something going on. Did you think me and her had something going on? Because I did not think she was betrothed. And now I'm not sure about her toxic-uriness. We were getting a lot out of her.
We already got a lot of useful information out of her. The more time we spend with her, the more likely she is to see through our ruse.
Right.
So why Steelwind?
I don't know, I panicked. Arya is like the only noble I know.
What about Pierce?
I am not using that creep's name.
Well, hopefully Steelwind doesn't mind us borrowing her name.
And we got her statement on what she saw that day.
And there's also what she said about her rapier.
I bet she was lying when she said it was stolen. She was probably trying to establish an alibi.
I'm not so sure.
Why do you say that?
Doesn't it feel too obvious? If she was lying about the rapier being stolen, that would imply that she planned all of this in advance. But if she had to choose a murder weapon, why would she choose something that literally has her name on it? I'd understand if the murderer was a spur-of-the-moment decision. She might have just used something nearby in this case. But if this was a premeditated murder committed by Miriam, that rapier would be the last weapon she would choose.
Right. I guess that makes sense.
There's also the evidence of academic dishonesty. It doesn't match up with what we heard from Miriam.
You mean all that stuff about working with the Crown Prince? She was probably just making things up to look good in front of me.
I have an insight when it comes to things like this. Under normal circumstances, I can usually tell when someone is lying. And a lie as grandiose as that would be something I could definitely see through.
People can subconsciously shield themselves from the Eye of Horus, even if they don't know about it. But when they do that, you usually can't see any thoughts from them. You also saw that she was lying about her encounter with Bellwether. You would have seen dissonant thoughts if she was lying about her grades.
Well, I guess I trust your insight. But what does this mean?
I don't know. Even with everything we found, I'm still not sure who the real culprit is. At the very least, I think we should still try to pull Miriam onto the stand. If she testifies in court, she might be able to find something I can use. But that's a big maybe.
If you don't play your cards right, you might spook the Fregas enough for them to pay off the judge.
Either way, it's getting late. We should probably have to turn in soon. Oh my god.
Yeah. You just hope you did enough to acquit Wallace. Whoa. Wow. I am struggling. Okay, let me grab more water real quick, because I'm actually out of water, and I desperately need water. And then we will return to court. So give me 1 sec. I'll be right back. Hello? Great. My Twitch froze on my browser and was still showing me at the cemetery, and I don't know when that happened. So that's weird. I hope you guys have been able to see me. Because it looks okay on my end, which is why I was confused.
Court is now resumed for the trial of Wallace Nightgrave. Let's review the proceedings from yesterday. It was revealed that the trace of necromancy may not have been left by the defendant. It may have been left by a witness who used necromancy to attempt to heal the victim. However, the victim was seen by witnesses well after her time of death. This could only be explained by the defendants using necromancy to animate the victim's body. This leaves the question, where did the murder take place? Does the prosecution have an answer for this?
Based on the testimonies of several witnesses, it is very unlikely that the murder took place in the library.
Interesting. What led you to this conclusion, Miss Steelwind?
First, I'd like to remind the court where the victim was sighted before the body was found. It began when the victim had a meeting with the headmaster near the center of the building. This brings us to the statement of the next witness, a student at the academy. This student saw the victim walking in the hallways. Which means that our first witness saw Bellwether as she was leaving saw Bellwether leave the headmaster's office. Presumably, this would have happened after meeting her. After her meeting there. Whoa! What is happening tonight? That would time this encounter at around 1 p.m. Fuck. The other event is the discovery of the body, which was when Valentina Iannis contacted security.
I'm eating a chocolate. Maybe I need sugar. This is not a good reading night. This isn't good. All we're doing is reading. That's literally all that's happening. Okay.
As we've already established, this event occurred at 3:04 p.m.
Okay.
But the significance of this time is in what occurred before the body was discovered. The second witness, a member of the cleaning staff, spotted the victim in the West Wing hallway. This means that this encounter must have happened no later than 2:30 p.m. This implies that the victim was near the library between 1 p.m. and 2:30 p.m. What the fuck? According to the defendant's statements, he was in the library during this time period. Furthermore, the time of death was at 2:07 p.m. This means that Mr. Hughes saw the victim's animated body.
I see. Your deduction certainly tracks, Miss Steelwind. What do you have to say in your defense, Mr. Cuthbert?
My guy froze. What are the dogs yelling at?
I don't know, but I think Mom and Dad are watching the Olympics, so maybe it's speaking.
Definitely possible.
The prosecution's argument is definitely well thought out, Your Honor. However, it is entirely predicated on the testimonies of all the witnesses involved.
Steelwind's deductions have to have a hole somewhere. Since your conversation yesterday, you've had a feeling that Miriam is hiding something. If you want to get to the truth, you need to drag that out of her through a cross-examination.
Your Honor, to test the validity of these claims, the defense would like both these witnesses to testify. The defense calls Miriam Frege to the stand.
Arya's pissed.
Frege?
At the mention of her name, the judge's face turns a bit pale.
I had a feeling it would come to this.
Do you have any objections, Miss Steelwind?
I do not, Your Honor.
Very well. Bailiff, please escort Lady Frege to the stand.
She's pissed.
Witness, please state your name and occupation for the...
You little snakes! How dare you deceive me?
Oh, it looks like she found out. I had the opportunity to debrief the witness beforehand. Ms. McCoy, for the record, I told you to exercise discretion. I did not mean that you should impersonate a member of my family. Yeah, sorry about that.
I gave you all of the tea I imported from the Eastern Kingdoms. I demand you return it to me.
No, you gave them to me. They're legally mine now.
I'm not sure what your business is with the witnesses, Ms. McCoy, but I'd ask that you please handle your personal disputes outside of the courtroom.
Anyways, Miriam, could you please testify to the court about your encounter with the victim?
Very well. I was working on a research project in my dorm room when I decided to take a break. I left my room and went on a walk. And that's when I saw Professor Bellwether exiting the headmaster's office. She was walking in my direction, so I greeted her and she responded in kind. After that, she headed towards the library. A short time after that, I went back to my room and continued my work.
I see, so it was only a brief encounter.
However brief it was, the witness's testimony verifies two things. One is that Miss Frege saw the professor exiting the headmaster's office. The other is that she witnessed the victim heading toward the library. That gives us a rough timeline of when where the victim was before her death.
That does seem consistent.
Did Bellwether really enter the library that day? You feel like you would have seen her there if she did.
Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. Did anything seem off about her?
No, but it was a very short encounter. It's not as if we stopped to have a conversation.
You said that you greeted her and she responded. What words did she use?
Why is that important?
Miss Frege, it's possible that someone used illusion magic that day. Every detail about the victim's interactions could be important.
Well, I bid her good morning, and she said good morning in response.
Did you see her enter the library?
I didn't, but there's not much else in that direction.
From the testimony of Jan Hughes, we know that she later came from the library. Even if she didn't enter the library, she was still in that area for more than an hour.
Okay, So I think what happened is someone cast an illusion on a construct, but I don't know how we get there.
How long did you leave your dorm room?
Only for a few minutes. I try not to let my breaks go for too long.
And you didn't see the professor again after your first encounter?
No, I did not.
Her testimony seemed pretty straightforward, but she could still be lying.
I'm honestly not sure. We'll just have to focus on her statements about how Bellwether acted. And you're sure you saw her exit the headmaster's office?
Yes, I remember it clearly. I was surprised she was still meeting with the headmaster at all. She must be talking about how they were plotting to replace him.
Did you interact with the professor at all, Miriam?
Let's give it a shot.
Objection!
No. Okay,
Was this research project part of your schoolwork?
It was an independent study to develop a new conjuration spell formula. The project is being sponsored by the Crown Prince himself. Ooh, oh.
I wasn't aware that he was involved in such a study.
Of course you wouldn't. Did you expect to know every aspect of his life, dear Arya? Do you think the princess are betrothed? You sense a bit of aggression. If you don't keep an eye on him, House Freyja might just steal him back from you.
Huh. As if His Highness would align himself with your rapacious family.
Our banking houses form the economic infrastructure of our kingdom. But perhaps he'll come to Steel Winds if he needs to clear a den of gorillas.
With all due respect, may we please focus on the matter at hand?
Of course, Your Honor.
She responded in kind. No, we did this one. Okay. What do I have to present?
Objection!
Sorry, I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing right now.
Objection!
I guess it's a good thing there's no, like, penalties right now. Short time I went back and continued my work. Headed towards the library, walking towards me. Headmaster's office. I have no idea what to do. I'm so sorry. Oh no, I'm panicking. Oh, wait.
Objection! Objection!
Did I do that the same one? Fuck. Okay. I don't know what to do. No one is here for me to bounce ideas off of. I don't know how we get to, this is clearly some kind of illusion on a construct. I don't know how to bring any of this shit up.
Objection!
Should I look up the answer? Is it more interesting at this point if I look up the answer? I'm just pressing everything in case this is one of those situations and I somehow miss something.
Objection! Objection!
I'm so lucky that this isn't penalized right now. I'm trying to focus on the statements on how she acted, but like I don't... Alright, let's look it up. This is not interesting. Since I don't even know what we're doing. Let's see, The Walking Dead. Oh, and then go and present Steelwind's deduction. Okay. I considered that and then just didn't.
Miss Frege, if I recall correctly, you have a habit of getting absorbed in your work. So much so that you'll even lose track of the time of day.
Yes, but what does that have to do with my testimony?
Earlier in today's proceedings, a prosecutor made the following argument. Miss Frege, if you had said good morning to the professor, you would have been mistaken, because that encounter could have only happened during the afternoon.
And your point is? You said it yourself, Mr. Cuthbert. The witness simply lost track of time.
What the witness said isn't what's important here. The significance is what the professor said in response. She had just come out of a meeting that was scheduled for noon. She would have been well aware that it was no longer morning, so why would she respond good morning? Wouldn't she have corrected the witness?
Their encounter was extremely short, and the victim's mind may have been preoccupied. She could have easily responded to the witness without thinking. I'm going to be honest, I kind of agree with her. This seems dumb. It's not hard to believe that they were both confused all the time, or just didn't notice and had an automatic response. It's definitely a stretch, but you still can't shake the feeling that she's hiding something. Every time you ask her about how Bellwether acted that day, the eye picks something up. There has to be something there.
Miss Frege, you haven't been entirely truthful in your testimony. Have you?
That's absurd. What reason would I have to lie? It's such a small detail. Why does he even care?
Every detail about how she acted is important, Miss Frege. What aren't you telling us?
Mr. Cuthbert, you have no basis to accuse the witness of perjury.
Yes, you'll stop this at once. Miss Frege, you're lying about how Bellwether responded to your greeting, aren't you?
It doesn't make a difference. All she did was yell at me.
All she did was yell?
Ms. Frege, is it possible that Bellwether's response was less than friendly?
What do you care? What difference does it make? Why is he so persistent?
My job is to make sure every part of your testimony is truthful. Every detail matters, no matter how seemingly insignificant. Mr. Cuthbert, you'll stop this or I will find you in contempt. The professor yelled at you, didn't she, Ms. Frege?
So what if she did? I mean...
I'm sorry, but there's no going back on what you just said. So, you do admit she yelled at you?
You impertinent little... Yes, I admit it. The professor didn't greet me back that day. Oh, good morning, Professor. Be quiet. She yelled at me to be quiet. But until then, we had been nothing but courteous with each other. I don't know what got into her that day, but something put her in a foul mood. But that's it. Everything else I said was the truth. They'll believe me, right? I did see her come out of the headmaster's office and walk toward the library. That part is true. So, She wasn't lying about that.
So, is that all, Mr. Cuthbert?
What do you mean by is that all?
You badgered this witness so you could prove what exactly?
The witness committed perjury.
The witness changed a small detail of her testimony, a detail that is inconsequential to the case. It was clearly an act with no malicious intent.
After seeing her thoughts, it's hard to disagree with that. You were so sure that the eye would lead you somewhere. But Freyka was only lying to save face.
The witness saw the victim leave the headmaster's office and head toward the library. Do you have any concrete evidence to refute that, Mr. Cuthbert?
No, I suppose I don't.
Wait, is this really okay?
At this rate, this will be the only chance you have to cross-examine her.
I don't think she's lying anymore, and I was really pushing my luck earlier. If I continue to press her, the judge might actually charge me with contempt. But if Miriam isn't the one lying, then... The defense has no further questions for the witness, Miss Steelwind.
The prosecutor stayed silent for a while. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how much is left. We can possibly do this. She almost looks disappointed.
Very well. Miriam, you're dismissed.
Miriam still looks like she's fuming, but she leaves the room without protest. The judge breathes a sigh of relief as the young noble is escorted out of the room.
And now with that out of the way, what else do you have, Mr. Cuthbert?
The only way to refute the professor... Oh my god! The only way to refute the prosecutor's theory is to cast doubt on one of the witnesses. If it wasn't Miriam, then...
Steelwind, to test her theory, we must question every witness that saw the victim that day. So with that said, the defense would like to call Jan Hughes to the stand.
I hope you understand, Mr. Cuthbert. Your entire case rests on the assumption that one of the witness accounts is incorrect. If your cross-examination of Mr. Hughes leads to nowhere, then I hope you're ready to concede.
You don't like the sound of it, but she's right. Unless you can find something in Jan's testimony, you won't really have anything to disprove her theory.
Bailiff, please bring in Mr. Hughes. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the courtroom. Witness, name and occupation.
Ah, right. My name is Jan Hughes. I'm on the cleaning staff of the academy.
Mr. Hughes, please testify to the court about your encounter with the professor that day.
Sure.
I'm so sleepy. Well, I hope you had fun, Hannah.
I saw the professor when I was cleaning the West Wing hallways. It was about 20-30 minutes before the body was discovered. She walked by me, but she looked pretty out of it. I heard she was undead when this happened. Pretty creepy if you ask me. After that, she went into the empty classroom. Well, that was straightforward.
Come on, Jan, what are we supposed to do with that?
I don't know. You guys are the lawyers. I'm just telling you what I saw. Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination.
Like a whole testimony? I don't know what to tell you.
Did anything else look off about her? I mean, yeah, she was undead after all. That remains to be proven, if you say so. Anyways, what was her demeanor like? She looked like she was in a bad mood. Either that or she was tired. But I guess she was just dead inside, literally. Okay.
Objection!
Oh, okay, not right now.
Objection!
Oh my god! Did I do this one?
I believe you've forgotten a few details of what the professor did. Yeah? Sorry. It's hard to remember these things sometimes.
Which details should you ask him for?
Did you hear her make any sounds? Oh yeah. After she knocked over the vase, she yelled at me to be quiet. But I didn't even say anything. detail could be extremely important. Please add it to your testimony, Mr. Hughes. Whatever you say, man.
Objection!
There we go. Mr. Hughes, you said that Bellwether yelled at you. What were her exact words? Think she yelled at me to be quiet?
What?
I thought it was weird. I didn't even say anything, but I know better than to talk back to her. That's the thing, Hughes. The prosecution's theory is as such. The professor was murdered in the library and was reanimated using animate corpse. With a quick illusion spell, no one would have noticed that she was undead. However, if what you saw truly was the undead Bellwether, how did she speak to you? Huh?
This doesn't make any sense.
Mr. Hughes, the undead can follow simple orders, but they don't have the intelligence to speak.
Perhaps the witness was mistaken.
No, I'm sure I heard her yell at me. I remembered because what she said didn't make any sense. Exactly, he didn't say anything, but she still yelled at him to be quiet.
Wait a minute.
I'm afraid I don't understand. We've already established that the victim was dead long before her encounter with Mr. Hughes. But if what he saw wasn't undead, what was it?
It had to be an undead. What other explanation is there?
It couldn't have been a major illusion. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been able to shove Jan out of the way or knock over the vase. Whatever it was, someone probably used illusory disguise to make it sound like Bellwether. Does that mean it was a person? No, if it was a person, how did Bellwether's body end up in the lecture hall? Bellwether wouldn't have been able to turn herself invisible if she was dead. And whatever Jan saw, it needs to be something that could have transported Bellwether's body unseen. It would have also needed to have mass and the ability to speak. What created Bellwether's voice? At the very least, it needs to be something that can recreate Bellwether's voice. What could have done that?
That's it. Do you have an answer for us, Mr. Cuthbert? What did the witness actually see? Your Honor, the witness didn't actually hear the dead victim speaking. What he actually heard was her voice being recreated using magic.
Are you trying to say her voice was recreated using a spell?
Not a spell, Steelwind. It was artificery. And whoever the murderer is, they had the perfect piece of artificery available to them. One program with Catherine Bellwether's voice.
Good night?
Me?
Yeah.
Good night.
You can't possibly mean.
That's right, Steelwind. What Mr. Hughes saw was an ancient with an arcane construct. An arcane construct? Think of it as a magically animated suit of armor, Your Honor.
I almost called him Your Highness. That's not right.
But we've ruled out such a possibility.
What?
Haven't we? Construct or no one can disguise themselves and carry the body to that classroom. A person wouldn't have been able to do it. But the arcane constructs are a different thing entirely. Those suits of armor are extremely large, but more important, they're hollow. I see. That means that theoretically, someone could have placed the victim's body inside of it. The arcane construct wouldn't just transport the body. With an illusory disguise, it would also confuse and mislead anyone who saw it.
Objection!
I commend your deduction, Mr. Cuthbert, but I would never have considered that possibility. It's certainly plausible, but what does this prove exactly?
It proves that the body wasn't animated using necromancy. My client isn't the murderer.
The defendant is still capable of performing all the acts you described. His compendium contains illusory disguise after all.
There were several students in the library that day. Any of them could have committed the murder.
One might come to the conclusion that if they didn't have one crucial piece of evidence. I'd like to present a new piece of evidence to the court.
From under the table, you see Miss Steelwind pull out the bloody rapier.
Blood? Is that?
Yes, Your Honor. This is the murder weapon. She was saving that for the perfect moment, wasn't she? This rapier was reportedly stolen by Miriam Frege weeks before the murder. Oh, reportedly stolen. I think I've read it that way a few times. Was reported stolen by Miriam Frege weeks before the murder, and during the investigation it was finally found in the defendant's locker.
Wait.
He was clearly trying to use one of her possessions in a paltry attempt to frame her. Why, he even stole her locker's nameplate and placed it over his.
Damn it, that's not what happened. But honestly, it sounds more plausible than what really took place.
We're basically back to square one, aren't we? Anyone could have told the construct to do all those things.
Wait, anyone? Is that really true? The construct teleported the professor's body, and someone used an illusion to make it look like her. They even used a pre-recorded voice to make the illusion more convincing. Who ordered the construct to hide the body? Could anyone have done that? Oh, that's okay. Several memories flood back to you. Only the headmaster can change those settings. Kristoff pose. It's not even that Kristoff-y, but there's something about it that always makes me, that every time we've seen it tonight, I've been like, why does that look like Kristoff?
No, it can't be him.
What is it, Tyrion? Did you figure something out? Tell me.
I did. But is he seriously the one behind all of this? Ms. Steelwind, earlier you said that my client could have orchestrated this entire ruse. But that's simply not true.
How so? Anyone could have ordered the construct to carry off the victim's body.
Yes, but not everyone can change what the constructs are able to say. Only one individual has credentials for that. Theodore Redmond, headmaster of the Imperial Academy.
Wait, you're not serious, are you? You think the headmaster did all this?
I don't want to believe it, but he's the only person who could have done it.
That's completely ridiculous. Headmaster Redmond would never do something like this.
Miss Steelwind, there's one common element between each of the witnesses' encounters with Bellwether. It's what Bellwether said to them.
She yelled at both of them to be quiet.
Miriam Frege was particularly surprised. She had a good relationship with the professor.
I've got the hiccups now, fuck.
But when greeted by the professor, Bellwether just shouted at her. Almost as if the professor was responding indiscriminately. And recall her encounter with Jan Hughes. The professor knocked over a vase and shouted at him to be quiet immediately after, even though he hadn't said anything.
She was responding to the sound of the vase breaking.
Now let me ask you this, Steelwind. Where did Bellwether come from before she encountered Ms. Frege and Mr. Hughes?
Her meeting.
With the headmaster.
Wish they were a little more detailed, because the people shaking their heads are so detailed.
It appears the defense truly means to indict Theodore Redmond. If so, we have no choice but to take a brief recess until he can be brought here.
God, fuck.
There's no need. Fortunately for you, I'm already in the gallery.
The headmaster stood up from the gallery seats behind you and slowly walked onto the witness stand. Has he been here the entire time?
Now, please correct me if I'm wrong. Mr. Cuthbert.
Sorry.
But you think I'm the one who committed the crime. I'm sorry, Redmond. But no matter how I look at it, everything I've found points to you. No, there's no need to apologize. In fact, I should commend you on the lengths you're going to defend dear Wallace.
The court appreciates your understanding, Mr. Redmond.
Now then, to clear the air, I suppose I should give my testimony on what happened that day.
I think this is our last one. God, I hope so.
That day I had a meeting scheduled with the professor at noon. She showed up at the expected time, and we discussed various administrative matters. Our meeting went on for an hour, after which she left to prepare for her next class. Despite our many disagreements, we still knew how to be civil with one another. After all, I had no reason to bear a personal grudge against her.
I just can't see it. Oh, ooh, I would love a fun fact. Hit me up with a fun fact, Hotwired Gaming.
He seems like such a nice person. Is he really the person we're looking for?
He has to be. No one else could have orchestrated this entire plot.
You just need to figure out how and why.
Ooh, okay.
Objection!
Nope, never mind. Sorry. Here?
Objection!
Remember that bit with Eris in the graveyard where the screen glitches and it showed your computer name? I remember being in the graveyard with Eris and it glitched, but I don't know if it showed my computer name. I might not have been paying enough attention. I remember the glitch, but did I miss the computer name? I wasn't reading the dialogue when it glitched, so. Oh, I didn't see that. Oh. I'm gonna have to go back into the VOD and look for that. Yeah, I missed that. I was too focused on looking on her sprite.
Redmond, did you really hold no animosity toward Professor Bellwether? Of course not. I did have strong opinions about her methods of teaching, but I always remained professional. We both did. Frankly, I find that hard to believe. In fact, I think you might have had a very good reason to murder the professor, considering she was going to take your job.
What?
So you knew about that.
I'm sorry, but I don't follow. Just how was the professor going to take the headmaster's job?
Accordium?
According to Miriam Frege, Catherine Bellwether was currying favor with the noble families. In fact, there was a plan to oust Mr. Redmond and appointed Bellwether as the new headmaster of the academy.
She says it totally normal. Oh, that's fun. I like that. That's fun.
What? But in any case, I doubt that the headmaster had any idea of this until now.
I'd like to remind the court of the witness's reaction just now. You said, so you knew about that. His reaction was one of surprise. But he wasn't surprised by this information. He was surprised that I knew this information.
That's...
Please, dear Arya, I may be a frail old man, but I'm perfectly capable of defending myself.
Oh god, these hiccups.
If you have an explanation, Mr. Redmond, then by all means I'd love to hear it. Gladly.
Okay.
It is true that I knew about Frege's plot beforehand, but I only just learned about it. On the day of the murder, the professor told me about her plan. She was going to replace me as headmaster, and replace the staff with her arcane constructs. Now you might say that this would have given me a perfect motive to murder the professor. However, suppose the supposed murder weapon was stolen from Miss Frege. This happened weeks before the murder, and my discovery of the professor's treachery. I had no knowledge of their plan before she told me, and therefore I wouldn't have known to steal Miss Frege's weapon in an attempt to frame her.
Are you satisfied now, Mr. Cuthbert? There's no way that the professor could have come up with...
Wrong.
That the headmaster could have come up with this plan. If he really did do this, that means he stole the rapier too, right?
Most likely.
His alibi makes sense. He couldn't have planned this whole thing unless he knew about Bellwether's plans. That would mean he knew about this weeks ago. But how did he even find out?
The best way to tell a convincing lie is to leave lots of truth and only change one detail. Maybe Bellwether did tell him, but she actually told him weeks ago.
The question is, how do you prove that?
Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination.
What do I got? Oh wait, a few weeks ago. Yeah, great.
Objection!
Redmond, you keep saying that you didn't know about Bellwether's plot before yesterday. Do you still stand... Whew. Do you still plan on standing behind that claim? Of course I am, because it's the truth. I'm sorry, Redmond, but you should really close your door during your meetings. What? Did someone see you? It is true that Bellwether revealed her plan to you during one of your meetings. In fact, Jan Hughes happened to overhear that same meeting, but he only overheard the part where the staff would be replaced. And that's the strangest part, Redmond. According to Mr. Hughes, this meeting occurred weeks ago.
You can't accuse the headmaster of perjury based on a rumor. Everything you've just said is based on secondhand information.
Hughes distinctly overheard that the staff would be replaced with arcane constructs. That is too specific and too accurate to assume that he misheard a different conversation.
The professor probably only revealed her plan for the arcane constructs. That still doesn't prove that he knew about her treachery beforehand.
Professor Bellwether had no authority over the cleaning staff's employment. It wouldn't make sense for her to just reveal the plan for the arcane constructs. That would only make sense if he knew that Bellwether would be taking his job. So tell me this one thing, Redmond. I'm adding words. Why did you find the need to lie about this? Is it because you saw a need to protect yourself from my accusations? Fuck me, god damn it. Redmond, I asked you a question. Did you murder Catherine Bellwether?
Oh, hi! How did you do that with the lighting? How did you do that?
What a fine mess this is. I'm not done. Not yet.
Headmaster? The fuck are you doing with the lighting?
So, you truly plan on
Pushing this? Pressing this?
pushing it? Sorry. Well, your thesis sounded promising, Mr. Cuthbert, but I believe your arguments could use a little work.
Crime! Suspects! Argument.
You think I killed Catherine Bellwether? Me. I'm an elderly man in his late 80s. I was alone and had nothing to overpower Bellwether with. I can barely walk, much less wield a rapier. What, you and Bellwether weren't the only people in that room, were you? You needed the arcane construct to carry Bellwether's body. That means the construct would have already been in your office, and with your privileges you could have easily programmed the construct to stab Bellwether for you. Even so, think about what would have transpired afterwards.
Oh god. One sec.
Recall Miss Steelman's timeline of Bellwether's witnesses. With your theory, the construct would have spent more than an hour in the library. Having it there would have risked my so-called ruse from being discovered. Luckily, Lady Freyga can't tell night from day. I wouldn't have the construct linger around the library.
Use this against claims that contradict thoughts seen by... Oh yeah, use this claims contradict by evidence.
The timing deduced from Miss Freyga's testimony is predicted on one thing. She saw Ms. Bellwether exit your office after your meeting. However, if we assume you're lying about when this meeting ended, your entire argument falls apart. Ms. Freyga would have encountered Bellwether after her death at 2:01 p.m. Ms. Freyga wouldn't have made a mistake like that. Ms. Freyga thought it was morning when she saw Bellwether. She can't reliably tell the time. She doesn't have a watch. She's so rich and she doesn't have a watch. Then what about where the rapier was placed? If I really was the murderer, then that would mean I planted the weapon in the young Wallace's locker. Several of the students had lockers that I had access to. I wouldn't have placed incriminating evidence in that locker. Wallace was one of my prized students. If I had to frame anyone, he would be the last person I chose.
Where is the one that said this one? Nope.
You're right, Mr. Redmond. You wouldn't try to frame Wallace. You would try to frame Miriam Freyga. It would have been the perfect act of revenge, wouldn't it? You murdered your treacherous co-worker and framed the daughter of the family that helped her. But something went wrong, didn't it, Redmond? The labels on Wallace's locker and Miriam's locker were switched. Anyone who saw that would have easily mixed them up. I am the headmaster of the Imperial Academy. I have records of all the students' lockers and where they're located. There's no reason I would make a mistake like that. If I truly planned this, I would have known where Wallace's locker was. A simple change in labels wouldn't have led me to make a careless mistake like that. But it wasn't you, was it? Your arcane construct was the one who planted the rapier in the locker. I bet you commanded it to place this rapier in the locker of Miriam Frege, but it saw the ID number on Wallace's locker and assumed it was Miriam's. This is... die!
Redmond begins desperately stammering, looking for something to say. I need to go to bed soon.
Stupid. Say something.
What? Ugh. Mr. Cuthbert, your theory may be plausible, but there's no evidence to support it.
Ha! That's right. You don't have any proof, do you? There's no evidence of my orders. Saying that I could have committed the murder isn't the same as proving I did it.
Yeah, Nate, I am on the Kiki zine. I love Kiki. It makes me feel like I'm dying and sends me into depressive episodes. There's no evidence of my orders. It must be cleared regularly. Can we do this one again?
Your arcane construct is still in the locker room where it planted the rapier. All we have to do is take a look inside and we'll see the blood inside. Is that so, Mr. Cuthbert?
What? Why does he still look so confident?
No. Mr. Cuthbert, I already checked the inside of that construct during my investigation. The interior was completely clean.
What? The construct's primary function is to assist and clean, dear Tyrion. They have a function that allows them to clean themselves, inside and out. Well, we can still look at its command history, right?
Think about it, Mr. Cuthbert. Do you honestly think the murderer would leave behind evidence like that? I'm sure that whoever orchestrated this plot, they ordered the construct to wipe its logs when it was finished.
No. That's right, Cuthbert. Your case against me is theoretical at best, but I suppose I can still give you marks for trying.
Damn it. He thought of everything. Was he seriously able to get rid of all the evidence? You're running out of options, but you still have one tool left. Oh! Text flash.
Bah, it's unbecoming to glare like that, young Tyrion.
He's doing it again. His eyes are bulging out of his skull.
Bring yourself back to that moment with Garrick Pierce. Think about what's at stake for Wallace, just like you did with Celeste. His life and his future are in your hands.
Naught can remain concealed.
Empowered Eye! You activated the Empowered Eye again. Redmond did a good job of covering his tracks, but there has to be something that he forgot to get rid of. Alright. I don't remember how this works. I don't remember how this works. Shit. Okay. I'm like, fuck. Shit. Okay, okay, thank you. Thank you so much. I was like, what the fuck are we doing?
I wonder, did I leave any other pieces of evidence behind? I was far too reckless, but I needed some way to keep that lecture hall empty.
Oh, right. He must have botched the alchemy experiment on purpose to keep the lecture hall cleared, but that doesn't really tell you anything you can use right now.
I did everything I could to cast doubt on Frege's brat. I can't believe Valerie placed a trace of necromancy on the body. To make matters worse, the construct placed the evidence in the long rocker.
Locker. So he did send the construct to the locker room to present the evidence. He must have also fabricated the documents that accused Freyga of cheating. It was all to make her look like the murderer, but this doesn't give you anything new to work with. How am I thinking of this now? Okay.
The construct's orders were clear. Plant the body in lecture hall 2B, and then plant the evidence in Freyga's locker. It was supposed to head to the storage room afterwards. What happened?
Interesting. The construct wasn't supposed to be in the locker room.
The construct's orders were clear.
Plant the body in the... What happened? What happened? What happened?
I had to do everything I could to shift guilt away from myself, but did I leave any holes in my alibi? No, I accounted for everything. There's no way I left any evidence behind. Why was the construct in the locker room, though? It shouldn't have been there if it had followed my orders. No matter, it just wiped its logs. They have nothing on me.
So he did order it to wipe its logs. In order to cover all of its tracks, it probably would have done this last. Wait, he ordered the construct to go to the storage room? It would have done that after it was finished planting the evidence in the locker room. But we found it in the locker room. What stopped the construct from leaving the locker room? Was it this now? Right. The body was probably reported earlier than Redmond expected. This means he probably started the lockdown before the construct was finished in the locker room. How did the lockdown affect the construct's actions? But does this change anything? Redmond's series of commands was interrupted by the lockdown. Right. The series of commands would have been interrupted. Wait a minute. The construct's final command was to wipe its memory. But if its orders were interrupted by the lockdown, then...
Miss Steelwind, I have nothing more to ask this witness.
What? You're not giving up, are you? I'm saying this as a threat. I have a sword.
Do you even have to ask?
Yeah, I thought so. I know you're afraid of the many dangerous weapons I have on me at all times. But how are you going to prove he did it if he's not testifying?
Don't worry. The next witness's testimony will be all I need.
Next witness? That look on your face isn't one of defeat. Just what are you planning?
Ha! It's nothing but desperate bravado. Now, if you'll excuse me.
And he vanishes.
You let your quarry get away, Mr. Cuthbert. I hope you know what you're doing.
I do, Miss Steelwind. First, I'd like for the Inquisition to bring in the arcane construct in the Academy's locker room.
I think Celeste likes to point to random different body parts and be like, I could kill you in 7 different ways with my pinky finger. And then they just get like increasingly ridiculous, where she's like, I can think of at least 2 ways to kill you with my ear. And Tyrion's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
We've already established that the murderer could have wiped its history.
Please just humor me for a second, Ms. Steelwind. I don't think I read that line in full. First, I'd like for the Inquisition to bring in the arcane construct in the Academy's locker room.
Very well. Bailiff, please relay Mr. Cuthbert's request to Commander White.
We're so close to done. Then I can eat pie.
Well, here's your construct. I hope you know what you're doing, Mr. Cuthbert.
Construct?
What are your orders?
Please recite your command history.
Reporting. Command 1, stand by in Headmaster's office. Command 2, await vocal signal, attack from Theodore Redmond. You hear Redmond stand up from the gallery. Seeing this, the prosecutor watches him and carefully clutches the handle of her cane. Command 3, treat Catherine Bellwether as hostile entity and neutralize. Oh. Hello, are we supposed to be in here?
Construct, wipe your...
Isn't this... So, not their intention, but this is a crypto word. This is a crypto word. Not their intention, but hodl. Before he can finish his sentence, the prosecutor points her cane at the headmaster. Magical energy shoots from it and collides directly with him. The magic wreaths around his body and stops him from moving. He's clearly trying to struggle against it, but it looks like he can't even move his mouth.
Miss Steelwind.
Excuse the interruption, and the fact that apparently we named spells after the same thing that are phrases in cryptocurrency. Cringe. Excuse the interruption. Please continue. Command 4, await vocal signal, leave. From Theodore Redmond. Command 5, move to classroom 2B. Reply to any inquiries with voice line number 3. Command 6, remove Catherine Bellwether from interior frame and place on floor.
Thank you, Construct. You can stop now. I think we all know the rest. But just to be clear, who gave you this series of commands?
To the moon, bestie. To the moon. Commands were provided by Headmaster Theodore Redmond. Oh, look at that blurry little construct.
How? I ordered the Construct to wipe its command history.
I wish I could help you, Nate. Holy shit, I still need to do emails for grad school. I'll message you after work. After stream.
Mr. Redmond?
You don't have to do it tonight. I need to do it, though, so I don't forget.
Constructs don't follow the same logic that humans do. They're prone to error when their commands are impossible to execute. Impossible? In what way were my commands impossible? You were the one that made it impossible. You activated the lockdown system. The lockdown? The body was found earlier than you'd like. You had no choice but to immediately activate the lockdown system when it was activated. When it was discovered, not activated. However, the Construct was still in the locker room when you did this. So that's why it was there. The Construct finished its tasks in the locker room, but then it tried to follow your next command. It tried to move from the... Ooh, got it. It tried to move from the storage room, but it was prevented from doing so. Completion of that command was impossible, so the series of commands was stopped before it wiped its history. You little... Theodore Redmond, you ordered your Construct to mortar? I'm gonna just not simply order your Construct to mortar, I guess. You ordered your Construct to murder Catherine Bellwether. Then you had it place the murder weapon in a locker to frame Miriam Frege, and we have your Construct's testimony to prove it. And that's checkmate.
Loser.
I can't believe it. How could you do something like this, Headmaster?
She was going to take everything from me. My position, my academy, my students. Everything would be gone. It was going to be stolen by her and the Freges.
Why didn't you say anything to me? I could have...
Don't you dare stand there and act ignorant to Lady Steelwind. Don't you think the Freges... Do you think the Freges acted alone? Your father was a part of this plot too.
What?
I have nothing to say to you. I thought you were different. I listened to your lies about societal reform. In the end, you were just like the rest of the aristocracy. By the Scaled Lord, what have I done? I was even willing to sacrifice poor Wallace. I can't believe Why did I do this?
Hey, Eris? Girl, knock it the fuck off. Stop it.
It appears we have a full confession. The court sees no reason to prolong this any further. Bailiff, please escort the witness to a holding cell.
Oh boy. What the fuck was his voice? I don't remember.
Mr. Cuthbert, you really did it.
It feels amazing, right? Like a big weight being lifted from your shoulders when you're, no longer being accused of murder?
It does, but I can't believe the headmaster was the one who did this.
Right. Despite everything Redmond did, he was the only one who allowed Wallace to pursue his dreams.
I'm sorry. I'm sure this is bittersweet for you. What am I gonna do now? Headmaster Redmond was the only reason I could even attend the academy. With him gone.
Come on, don't think like that. You got acquitted. I'm sure it'll all work out.
You want to agree, but necromancy is basically taboo. Without Redmond's support, there aren't many places he could learn it legitimately. So learn it illegitimately, bestie. And then there's the Imperial Academy.
Hey, don't you get all sad on me too.
Sorry, I was just thinking. With Redmond gone, the Freys will probably just appoint another sycophant as the headmaster. Valentina, Valerie, and Jim, they're all going to lose their jobs.
Come on, you found the truth and you put a murderer behind bars. You saved Wallace.
She's right. Mom! As you start to exit the courtroom, you're greeted by Ms. Tamora. Was she in the gallery the entire time? At the end of the day, you saved Wallace from a wrongful conviction. You should be proud of yourself for that.
I suppose you're right. Maybe I am just overthinking things.
But the doubt still lingers in your mind.
Now come on, I'm taking Wallace to the restaurant we went to last time.
Do you remember how much that place cost?
Don't worry, I have plenty of gold.
Am I the only one on this team not making any gold?
He's literally like that thing like, what do you mean you guys are getting paid? Why don't you meet us there, Celeste? I need to talk with Tyrion for a moment.
Alright, let's go, Wallace.
Okay.
You activated the empowered eye again, didn't you? She doesn't appear to be praising you.
I did. I didn't really have a choice.
The Eye of Horus is a powerful tool, Tyrion. But that's twice now that you've used your empowered eye to get out of a tough spot. You can't keep relying on it if you want to grow as an attorney. One day, you'll find a witness that the empowered eye won't work on.
It's worked for me this far, though. But I suppose you're right. I'll try to rely on it less next time. And that marked the end of another case in my career as a defense attorney. Another life saved, and another murderer brought to justice.
My dogs are losing it.
But I still couldn't shake this feeling of uneasiness. Was it guilt for what would happen to the faculty staff? Or was it something else?
Oh. Episode end. The Walking Dead.
Oh, man, Steelwind has been talking with the perp for hours. What's there to even ask at this point?
Turns out she doesn't trust his testimony. Something about his memories not matching up with the crime scene.
You don't think he has mage blight, does he?
No, it's not that. She found that damned symbol etched into his desk. Or what did she call it? The purple mark?
Oh, for the not this again.
Look, if the little lady wants to chase the boogeyman, just let her. At least this time she's doing it personally instead of dragging us into it.
Cast sleep.
Whoop! Man down. Man super down.
Hey, what's up with...
Up! Man down too.
Who did this to your desk?
What has gotten into you? I've already admitted everything. What more could you possibly want from me?
Where did this graffiti come from? What is this symbol? What is the purple mark?
I don't know. A student must have done it at some point.
Think very hard, Headmaster. When did you receive this purple symbol? Focus on the moment you received this.
Wait a minute. I remember it now, but how?
Oh, girl down!
Lady Steelwind, Arya, what happened? Are you okay?
That was close. My elation over meeting him almost made me forget.
Varys, what are you doing here? Why? Wait, I remember now. It was you. You put those ideas into my mind. You're the one who told me to murder Bellwether.
Oh, you humans never fail to amuse me. I didn't make you do anything. Everything you did that day, all the planning, all the preparation, that came from your own mind. And I have to say, I was quite entertained with the scheme you came up with. Why, you even broke into Miriam's room. I didn't know you had it in you, old man.
You made me forget about our conversation. But how? Illusions can't affect the mind. Magic can't affect the mind.
It's a shame, though. I would have much rather turned Wallace into the antagonist of this chapter. Can you imagine if he turned? It would have been spectacular. Armies of the undead running rampant in the streets. But alas, even I couldn't corrupt his pure soul.
Answer me. Who are you? What are you?
Who am I? I'm the Lord of the Sixth Circle.
Whatever the fuck that means. Ah! People are trying to sleep. Ugh. Well, that was fun. I'm very excited. How much do we have left? Do we have 2 cases? Oh no, we have 5 cases. All right. Oh, Origins of Horus. Great. Awesome. Okay. That guy's dead. So thank you all for coming. On Thursday, I will be doing, Thursday I'll be doing more Zero Escape, Virtue's Last Reward, and, I think we're actually gonna be able to start getting the endings. So we're getting close to the end of that game, thank fucking God. It's gonna be several more, it's gonna be at least a few more streams, but we're getting there. And then on Friday, I think Ronnie and I are back to streaming, but like, don't hold your breath. I'm not entirely sure. And then next Monday, we will be back here. We will be starting the next case. We're gonna be moving forward. We're gonna see what's up. I need to know what's going on here. But thank you all for coming. Thanks for hanging out with me. Have a good week. I hypothetically might potentially do some writing streams coming up, but I've been feeling so weird that I'm not going to promise that. So if it happens, it happens. And if it doesn't, I made no promises. But everyone go hydrate because I have been incredibly dehydrated today. And I think that's one of the reasons I'm feeling wacky. So have a good night. Have a good day. I'll see you all later. Goodbye.